Yes, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Thank you so very much for tuning into the Life Signatures Radio. It is for my good, it is for your good that we cross pollinate one another. We meet here virtually and we incubate ourselves on the messages of purpose, productivity, and resilience every working day. By God's given grace, we're able to do this. This podcast covers those three topics, and we are in the middle of a series where we're talking about work. One of the longest series I'm gonna do is about work. It is important, very extremely important. We've already looked at how work is exemplified, 5 ways in which work is exemplified, and we ended that, and now we're continuing to talk about some elements of work. And yesterday we started talking about work being a blessing and work being a spiritual thing. And today I want us to go ahead and continue in that vein, but demystify the idea of joblessness. So stay tuned.
Welcome to the Life Signatures podcast with Lawrence Namale. Lawrence is a life coach, author, and keynote speaker who loves to tackle different topics on purpose, productivity, and resilience. His mission in life is to awaken all your boundless possibilities available in you. Life Signatures podcast is dedicated to bring to reality every single person who knows that deep down in their gut, there's got to be more to life than this. And now, here is your host, Lawrence Namale.
So, let me ask you this question, ladies and gentlemen. If at all someone asked you to differentiate between work and a job, what are you going to say? I think if you wanted to get a very succinct definition or distinction between the two, you need to go to YouTube and Google Miles Monroe on work. He gives it very well. Talks about work being something that you can not be fired from, work being something that you are born to do, work being something that brings you ultimate fulfillment, work being something that you do not retire from, work being something that you are actually called to do, and a job being something that you can be fired from, being something that you do from 8 to 5, being something that you can retire from, being something that can stop. Your work doesn't stop, your job can end, your work can't, and so on and so forth. So we started talking about work yesterday being one of the most spiritually connected aspects. It's a spiritual thing itself. Work itself is a spiritual thing. Because you are a human, and your humanness is not the flesh and the blood. Your humanness is your essence. Your essence is spirit. And the things you do are spiritual things. This is not religion. You should hear me very carefully, because I submit to you that even the irreligious are spiritual in the work that they are doing. Work is a very spiritual thing. I can tell you, the thing that Steve Jobs was doing, even though Steve Jobs said he doesn't know God, doesn't believe God exists, his work was absolutely spiritual. I know this is going to be controversial. I know it's going to be controversial. Work is a human thing. And humans are spiritual beings. We all are spiritual beings. We're not just flesh blood. We are all spiritual beings. And therefore everything we do is connected to the spirit. Every passion we have, even the football you see guys play, it's a spiritual thing. The being of the human is the spirit, is the essence of the spirit of the human. So work is not, people normally think that worship, singing songs, going to church, praying and fasting are the only spiritual things. And they look at work. That's why there's a very bad testimony against Christians at work. You know why? Because Christians do not think that work is spiritual. And that's why the people in the world, let me use that word, use that phrase, people in the world, they do not want to hire Christians. They say that instead of Christians working, they are quote unquote praying. They are fasting. They are singing songs every early morning, making a nuisance in the office. And they don't want to work. They say, I'd rather recruit someone who doesn't know God. You know why that is so? It's because Christians have a totally disconnected notion. Okay, let me not generalize. Let me say many Christians have a totally disconnected notion of what work is. They think work is a fleshy thing. They think work is not a spiritual thing. No wonder they don't approach it with the seriousness it deserves. If we only approached our work the way we approached fasting and the way we approached prayer, this world in the Christian circles will be revolutionized. And I know we have these ministries, we call them marketplace ministries. And the essence of a marketplace ministry is to first of all make sure that you understand that work is a spiritual thing. Period. As spiritual as prayer, as spiritual as fasting, as spiritual as singing songs, as spiritual as speaking in tongues. Work is that seriously spiritual. So once that one has been put out of the way, let me continue and talk about this. There are things to do that everyone can engage in, even those people who are calling themselves jobless. And let's just go there. These things that you can do, these things that I've said that they are spiritual, they can make you productive in one way or another, such as giving you mental toughness, being engaged, growing, and so on. But that thing might not give you what you're looking for. You know what you're looking for? You're looking for money at the end of the month, which you need. I know. This world operates on currency. I know. I'm totally aware about that. They could be improving. These things you're doing, they could be improving your skills. Actually, you could be meeting people you've never met before and doing synergies and collaborations with one another, creating ideas because you are quote unquote working, you're not on a job. That's why I'm speaking to you once you've left school and you're calling yourself jobless. Please stop it. Stop it. Yes, I know you need to earn. I know you need to earn. However, just the fact that there are no monetary gains at the end of the month for the things that you're doing, week in, week out, day in, day out, don't refrain from that quote-unquote work, thereby losing a great opportunity to grow in different ways. Who say that work should be equal to monetary gain? Who gave us that definition? That's where we go wrong. If we could just venture, that growth that we get would have added some kind of pedigree to us and given us a better opportunity when the so-called job opening comes up, because we have stayed ahead of the rest. Actually, by the way, you'd rather be in the dance floor doing something than sitting back and waiting because you are quote-unquote jobless. Because if you knew that work was spiritual, you will not sit back. You will be engaged in it. You will be serious about it. Work is a major blessing for the human being because it allows a human being to be in charge. We talked about this. It allows you to be in charge. That's it. Anytime you are not working, you are actually not in charge. And working is like sweeping the streets. It is like washing someone's car. It is like sweeping the compound, picking dust and whatever it is. It is like taking care of children, going in the community and setting up some lights and clearing some trenches. Don't tell me there is no work to do even after school. When you are doing that stuff, my friend, you are being in charge. The spiritual realm looks at you at a totally different arena, a bigger pedestal, a higher level of respect to you than someone who is sitting at home waiting for newspapers to announce for jobs. And I've already offered, like a broken record, you do not need a job to work. Work is all over the place. You can find work to do concerning your body. You can find work to do concerning your spirit. You can find work to do concerning your relationships, concerning your community. Talked about that, concerning your room where you live. Or even if it doesn't matter how small that room is. I mean, you get the point. However, when you are not engaged in any way, you are missing so much on the blessing of being a human being. That is why, by all means, you and I must learn to fight distractions that come to take our eyes and then our hearts and then our heads and finally our hands out of work. It's important. And I spent a little time in bed some time back, just scrolling through social media, and in just an hour, I felt like a total wreck. I cried out in prayer, like saying, Lord, if this goes on, the bottom will fall off and I'll lose control if I don't work. And I felt totally useless, as if my life was wasting away, rotting from the inside. Why? Because I was out of control. I was not in charge. I felt like my life was being run by other things and someone else, maybe even overrun by events. And in such moments, that's when you start getting bad news about this not going on and so on and so forth. By all means, you ought to work. You ought to engage yourself, your mind, your heart, your hands in anything meaningful, even though there is no reward. Repeat the process tomorrow and then the day after. Rule over yourself. And this is how you realize just how alive you can be, just how in charge you can be. And that's when you realize how many ideas start coming to you, how many ideas you can be able to generate. And that's when you realize how much potential you have. And that's when you realize how much creativity is out there just on a reserve. But it is not for a few geniuses, it's for everyone. It's a basic makeup for every one of us. Work, ladies and gentlemen, is a blessing. We gotta find it. You need to find it today. So tomorrow, we're going to continue talking about this, especially as far as your work and your identity is concerned. Today, we've talked about joblessness. Tomorrow, let's talk about identity. Until then, bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Life Signatures Radio. If you enjoyed today's show, subscribe to Life Signatures Radio on iTunes, Stitcher, or visit our website at lifesignatures.libsyn.com. Life Signatures Radio, fresh, clean, and inspiring.